Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. The focus of the investigation into the Boston Marathon bombings remains on the widow of suspect Tamerlan Tsarnaev. Monday, FBI agents visited the Rhode Island family home of Catherine Russell. According to reports, agents collected a DNA sample and checked it against DNA found on a bomb fragment at the blast scene. Lab tests could help determine if Russell ever had contact with the device, but right now investigators say she is not a suspect. Meanwhile, her attorney says the widow is cooperating with detectives, and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev could get a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. He has not answered any questions since being read his Miranda rights just 1 week ago. And George Zimmerman, the Florida man accused of killing Trayvon Martin, waives his right to a pretrial stand-your-ground hearing in what will likely be Zimmerman's last appearance before his murder trial in June. The court wanted to know if Zimmerman would need to have his rights explained to him under Florida's self-defense law. The judge also ordered both sides to provide a new and clearer version of the 911 call made the night of Trayvon's death, on which a person can be heard screaming. And in a pivotal special congressional election, former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford and Democrat Elizabeth Colbert-Bush squared off in a testy and personal debate last night. Sanford is hoping for redemption after a 2009 trip to Argentina to visit his mistress, which forced him to leave office in shame. Sanford's Democratic opponent, Colbert-Bush, brought it up first in an answer about Sanford's record as governor.
When we talk about fiscal spending and we talk about protecting the taxpayers, it doesn't mean you take that money we saved and leave the country for a personal purpose.
You don't go through the experience I had back in 2009 without a greater level of humility.
Sanford did beat out more than a dozen Republicans in the primary. Now he's trying to shift the focus to Colbert-Bush, the sister of comedian Stephen Colbert, by highlighting his sister's liberal supporters. And when your Newsmax Now update returns, spring snow blankets Coors Field in Denver, the special steps the ground crew had to take to get the field ready for play, plus a Newsmax exclusive with former White House advisor Elliott Abrams on Syria and why the world is so closely watching the U.S. for its response to chemical weapon use. That's next.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Welcome back. The Colorado Rockies ground crew had to get to work super early to clear snow from Coors Field, and that allowed the Braves and Rockies to play, but all that snow did force the team to close parts of the stadium. It has been a snowy spring for Denver and the Rockies. Winter weather has postponed 3 games over the last 9 days. And the owner of that building that collapsed in Bangladesh, killing at least 400 people, had to wear police riot gear just to appear in court. An angry crowd shouted and hit Mohammed Sohel Rana. That's him under the helmet there. Authorities say the factory that he owned was illegally built, and Rana is therefore responsible for the deaths of hundreds of garment workers. There are still close to 1,000 people missing in the rubble. And during an exclusive interview with Newsmax TV, former White House advisor Elliot Abrams says the number of jihadists in Syria could double in the next year if the U.S. does not intervene.
One of the reasons that I've been, and a lot of other people have been critical of the administration letting this go on for 2 years, is the jihadis are getting stronger and stronger, and there are more and more of them. Estimates now are there are about 5,000 of them, real jihadis, the kind that are linked to al-Qaeda.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for April 30th. I'm John Bachman. Now to the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome to the big show. So the president didn't tell me he was having a news conference today. I mean, I would have planned appropriately. How dare he not tell me? Okay, a couple of things. Are you aware that it's snowing in Colorado, in Denver? That the Colorado Rockies, their stadium, they had to close part of it again? I know the Mets played there several weeks ago, and I know they got snowed out. Which is, you know, it's happened in New York in April at Yankee Stadium, I remember back in the 80s and the 90s. But it's May. Tomorrow's May, if I may. Tomorrow's May, and it's snowing. We got to get Mark Morano from ClimateDepot.com on tomorrow. What's that, Scott? Oh, we do have Mark Morano. Scott, you are a genius. We're going to get Mark Morano on tomorrow to talk about this. And there's a Russian scientist, who now says that we could be in for 200 years of global cooling. Oh, but how could that be, you ask? All right, so that's tomorrow. It's snowing in Colorado, and it's cold all over the place. I mean, it's chilly. I'm still wearing a jacket here, you know, of substantial warmth. I get cold, I must admit, but still. Anyway, hey, here's what I meant to tell you yesterday, and I forgot all about. Before we get to the president's press conference, and we will, we also have Ralph Peters coming up in this hour. He's the author of so many great books in the forthcoming Hell or Richmond, all about the Civil War. He's also Fox News strategic analyst. And we're going to talk about Benghazi, because we're going to talk about that in this segment too, and Syria and the bombings, all that coming up. But I just want to, I'm driving home Friday. I'm in the city. I'm in the 40s. And I'm driving down the block. And I see people staring at somebody and chuckling, and I look. There's this guy dressed, and I wish I could describe it better, like in a suit of armor. He's got like a helmet on, but it's all plastic, I think. So a suit of body armor, like a superhero type thing, trudging along, and he's got a helmet with the visor down. He's got, it's gray. It's like dark gray from head to toe. This armor type plastic-looking suit, and he's carrying, what I assume was a fake machine gun, like assault weapon type thing, a big one. I shouldn't say assault weapon, machine gun. This looked to me like one of those big fake water gun, water guns that look like a real big weapon. And I'm saying, is he kidding me? A week and a half after Boston? And this is what the guy's walking down the street. So I didn't think it was funny. I'm thinking this guy could be some kind of nut, because he's obviously looking to be confronted by police. So I called 911, and I told the woman where the guy was headed. And then I said, oh, and there's a cop car at the corner. Oh, could you go out and get him? Tell them? I said, no, I'm in traffic. I'm barely moving. I can't just get out of the car. So, and I said, plus I don't see the guy anymore, but he either went here or there. He did not go in that direction. So she said, okay, I'll send a car. So I do get to the corner. I pull up next to the cop. I told them, And then I went on my way. But I just can't, I guess it was nothing, and I guess maybe I overreacted. But if you see something, say something. And here's the thing. Everybody saw it. He was begging to be seen. And he's walking around holding the gun. And I'm like, is he kidding me? I was even like saying to myself, because I got ahead of him first, and I'm thinking if he sees me go for the phone, he might shoot me if he's real, if he's a terrorist. So I waited until he got a little bit ahead of my car, and then I grabbed the phone and I called 911. I said, what's the emergency? I said, I don't know if it's an emergency, but some guy is walking around like a superhero with a gun, real or fake, dressed in like body armor, real or fake, walking down the street. That's, I guess, New York for you. Actually, I meant to tell you that yesterday. I'm driving home yesterday, and I said, oh, man. I forgot to tell the story. So now I have told the story. Okay. Used to be a commercial in New York for an appliance store. And this guy, Jerry, with a construction worker hat, used to do the commercial. And I'm trying to think of his name, his real name. And it used to, the director or somebody used to say, hey, Jerry, what's the story? And he would say, hey, the story is we got that. And at the end, they'd say, so that's the story, Jerry? And he'd say, that's the story. Anyway. Insignificant, except for the two people out there who slightly remember what the heck I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on to Barack Obama's press conference. I loved this question from Jonathan Karl of ABC News. Cut 36, if you will.
Jonathan Karl. Mr. President, you are 100 days into your second term. On the gun bill, you put, seems, everything into it to try to get it passed. Obviously, it didn't. Congress has ignored your efforts to try to get them to undo these sequester cuts. There was even a bill that you threatened to veto that got 92 Democrats in the House voting yes. So my question to you is, do you still have the juice to get the rest of your agenda through this Congress?
Ooh, nice question. Ooh, how dare you ask that kind of question? I was expecting, Mr. President, Ginger or Marianne, or Mr. President, like I was hoping Savannah Guthrie would have asked. When you walk, Bo, do you scoop with a shovel type instrument, or do you bend down with a plastic bag in your hand to pick up the poop? But I guess Jonathan Karl, they decided they're gonna ask a real question, almost. Anyway, they did. There were real questions asked, and here's how the president responded. Cut 37.
Well, if you put it that way, Jonathan, maybe I should just pack up and go home. Golly. I think it's a little, as Mark Twain said, rumors of my demise may be a little exaggerated at this point. Look, we understand that we're in divided government right now. Republicans control the House of Representatives. In the Senate, this habit of requiring 60 votes for even the most modest piece of legislation has gummed up the works there.
Yeah, can't we get gum remover? You know what you used to, remember carburetors? Carburetors, they don't exist anymore. Can't we get one of those, they used to have gum remover for the carburetor in your car? Can't we get gum remover and send it to the U.S. Senate and get rid of this 60-vote thing and just let the Democrats pass whatever they want? Yeah, come on. This is gumming up the system, for crying out loud. Don't you love it? Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Unbelievable. Okay, and then it turned to, well, there were lots of questions. Syria. Gitmo, which is going to close, healthcare. There were serious questions. And Benghazi. Yesterday, Fox News did this report on Bret Baier's show. 2 parts here. Cut 26. Let's hear cut 26, shall we?
Fox News has learned that at least 3 career State Department employees and at least 1 more at the Central Intelligence Agency have retained lawyers or are in the process of doing so in order that they can provide sensitive information to Congress about Benghazi. The 4 consider themselves whistleblowers and want their counsel to receive the security clearances that would enable them to review classified documents. But the lawyer representing one of the employees at State told us the department is not providing a process for that, and even worse, is actively threatening her client and the others.
I'm not talking generally. I am talking specifically about Benghazi. that people have been threatened, and not just the State Department. People have been threatened at the CIA. It's frightening, and they're taking career people and making them well aware that their careers will be over.
That's pretty hefty charges. That's Victoria Townsend, by the way, pretty hefty attorney. And here's part 2 of that report, cut 27.
It was on September 11 that 4 Americans, including our ambassador to Libya, were killed in terror attacks on U.S. installations in Benghazi. Tunsing said her client has pertinent information on the months preceding the attacks, when pleas for enhanced security were rejected, on the 8-hour span of the attacks themselves, and on the 8-day period following the attacks, when the Obama administration falsely described them as the result of a spontaneous protest over a video.
So if you have additional questions, or you think there's some document that somehow you need, I'll work with you to try to get it.
Secretary of State Kerry told lawmakers this month that Obama administration officials have testified at 8 Benghazi hearings, held 20 Benghazi briefings, turned over 25,000 pages of Benghazi documents, and released an unclassified version of the report prepared by the so-called Accountability Review Board. Today, Kerry's spokesman insisted all standard procedures have been followed in terms of cooperation with Congress.
I'm not aware of private counsel seeking security clearances or anything to that regard. I'm not aware of whistleblowers one way or another. Congress has its own prerogatives, but we've had a very thorough, independent investigation, which we completed and were transparent and shared, and there are many folks who are, in a political manner, trying to sort of use this for their own political means or ends.
Okay, so there you go. Now, John Kerry, in that bite, didn't only say, hey, I'll cooperate with you, I'll get you whatever you need. He said it in this context. After he said, I'll get you whatever you need, in cut 32, he continued his testimony and said this. This is what he really meant. Here, give a listen to this.
Let's get this done with, folks. Let's figure out what it is that's missing, if it's legitimate or isn't. I don't think anybody lied to anybody. And let's find out exactly together what happened, because we got a lot more important things to move on to and get done.
We got a lot more important things to move on to and get done. A lot more important things than 4 dead Americans and a U.S. ambassador included, in a case that we've been lied to about, that now career CIA agents and others are saying they want to come forward and testify and tell the truth, and they're being told that their careers will be over. And he went, hey, we got more important things to take care of. Like what, Mr. Secretary? So that's where we are. And Obama was asked about it today, asked about what you just heard in the Fox report. And, of course, on this particular night last night, Barack Obama doesn't know what was on Fox. He always knows if it's about him and it's not good. But he just didn't happen to know what was on Fox last night, at least not that report. Here's cut number 21. 21.
And on the Benghazi question, I know pieces of this story have been litigated, and you've been asked about it. But there are people in your own State Department saying they've been blocked from coming forward, that they survived the terror attack, and they want to tell their story. Will you help them come forward and just say it once and for all?
Ed, I'm not familiar with this notion that anybody's been blocked from testifying. So what I'll do is I will find out what exactly you're referring to. What I've been very clear about from the start is that our job with respect to Benghazi has been to find out exactly what happened, to make sure that U.S. embassies, not just in the Middle East but around the world, are safe and secure, and to bring those who carried it out to justice. But I'll find out what exactly you're referring to.
They've hired an attorney because they're saying that they've been blocked from coming forward.
I'm not familiar with it.
He's not familiar with it, but he's going to get back to him. He's going to find out, and he will get back to him. Okay, I'm going to start right now, holding my breath. You ready? Oh, by the way, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. We're coming right back with the Hillary Shuffle, but...
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, Every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
What difference at this point does it make?
I can't wait for 2016, my friends. I can't wait. Let her run, because that's going to be played every single day. In fact, I went to the American Thinker and found, I guess, an old posting of a link to this what they call the Hillary Shuffle. It's about 3 minutes long. We got to get to it, and it's from libertymedia.com? I don't know. I should have been on my sheet. Anyway, we'll find out who did it. But here, enjoy, if you're watching or listening, the Hillary Shuffle.
What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make?
We weren't told they wanted more security again. We did not know they wanted more security again.
What difference? What difference? What difference does it make?
I'll make our government open and transparent.
that anyone can ensure that our business is the people's business.
What difference does it make?
The word's out that he hasn't paid any taxes for 10 years.
What?
Let him prove that he has paid taxes, because he hasn't.
What difference does it make?
When there's a bill that ends up on my desk as president, you, the public, will have 5 days to look online and find out what's in it before I sign it.
What difference? What difference? What difference does it make?
Well, we know that the operation began in the field offices in Arizona.
What?
At this point, I can say that it started in Arizona, and I'm not at all certain who beyond that can be said to have been involved.
What difference does it make?
We have already identified $2 trillion in deficit reductions that will help us cut our deficit in half by the end of my first term.
What difference? What difference? What difference does it make?
There's no reason, Bob, that young American soldiers need to be going into the homes of Iraqis in the dead of night, terrorizing kids and children, women.
What difference? What difference? What difference does it make?
There's more bang for the buck by investing in food stamps and in unemployment insurance than in any tax cuts.
At this point, what difference does it make?
The right thing for the economy now is to lock in some reforms that achieve concrete savings.
What?
So that Congress is living within its means.
In fact, what this began as was a spontaneous, not a premeditated response to this very offensive video that was disseminated.
What difference? What difference? What difference does it make?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
What difference? What difference? What difference does it make?
I never told anybody to lie, not a single time.
What difference does it make?
It's a lie.
So let me be absolutely clear. If you are a family making less than $250,000 a year, you will not see your taxes go up.
What difference at this point does it make?
I got to tell you, that's the gift that keeps on giving. I like that. And you haven't seen or heard the last of that one on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me assure you of that. The Hillary Shuffle. All right, folks, we're going to be joined by Ralph Peters, who, of course, is a strategic analyst for the Fox News Channel and the author of a forthcoming book, Hell or Richmond. And if you're a Ralph Peters fan, or if you're not, you got to get your hands on that book. It's going to be a blockbuster. His current book just won a huge award. We'll talk about that with him as well. The new book comes out next week. But we're going to talk about Benghazi and Syria and the Boston bombings on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Yeah, where, we've had patients that...
Back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And we are joined right now by a man who I've known for so many years. Love watching him on Fox News, where he is a strategic analyst and a great author. And he has a great new book that comes out next Tuesday, actually, Hell or Richmond, which is a great story, a novel about that takes place during the Civil War. We'll talk to him about that. And his current book, which has won a very prestigious award. Ralph Peters is with us. Hey, Ralph, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm great. Always great when I talk to you, Steve. I've missed talking to you.
Yes. No, it's been a while. It's been a long time, and I appreciate you coming on. And first appearance on the news show. This is week number 13.
Yeah, you and I go way back, though.
Way back. Yes, indeed. All right, there's so many topics to cover, and I want to start with what I was talking about in the previous segment, and that's Benghazi. And the president was asked today about a report that at least started on Fox News last night, where at least 4 career officials at the State Department and the CIA have retained lawyers or in the process of doing so. They're preparing to provide sensitive information about Benghazi to Congress, and they're claiming that they're being intimidated and being threatened, that if they do testify, their careers will be over. The president said he's heard nothing about this. Kerry's spokesman said he's heard nothing about this. And here's a situation, here's a story where we found out that Hillary signed a cable, or at least her name was on a cable, that denied security to the embassy. She testified under oath she never saw such a cable. This to me is one of the biggest cover-ups. We have 4 dead Americans, including a U.S. ambassador, and God bless those in Congress, the few who want to see this through to find out who's responsible and who's lying about what.
Well, Steve, it's like Watergate in the sense that it's not even about the event anymore. It's about this disgraceful presidential White House cover-up. And, in fact, it goes well beyond the White House. The only thing I will say is that it is standard practice in State Department cables emanating from Washington to have the secretary's name on the bottom of everyone, even if it's just about supplies of toilet paper for the Moscow embassy. So that's a bit of a red herring, but everything else is on. And I listened to the president's news conference this morning, and all I can say is that the guy is such a weasel that real weasels actually blush, and it's hard for weasels to blush. I mean, it was like this. In the military, we used to call it tap dancing. When you get a question, you don't want to answer it or can't answer it. And, man, he was tap dancing all over the podium. Can we ever get straight answers from this president? It's just astonishing to me that the establishment media let him coast, let him get by.
Well, at least they asked the questions today. They did ask about Benghazi. They did ask about Syria, which we'll get to in a second. They did ask about health care. So they didn't follow up with anything harsh, but at least it wasn't, what's your favorite food? What are you going to do? Who do you like to win the NBA playoffs or whatever? But let's just one more on Benghazi. And, of course, it's a situation where we still don't know who did it. And the president today, we're going to get to the bottom of it. The same rhetoric from the day or two afterwards, and here it is. September? What are we? 6-7 months in already, and we don't have a clue.
Yeah, well, remember, this is a guy that when he was campaigning in 2008 was going to fix Afghanistan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he sure did. I mean, he was going to close Gitmo. He was going to do this, that, and the other thing. And Obama makes promises about what he's going to do, or he makes promises the way a drunk teenage boy does in a back seat with a cheerleader. I mean, he doesn't even mean it when he's saying it. He just has an end, in his case, a political end in mind. And I have to say, he's our president. I want to respect him. I want to support him. I'm not a party animal, Democrat or Republican. I'm independent. But this guy is so inept, dishonest, indecisive, that, I mean, he makes James Buchanan look like George Patton.
I love the analogies you're coming up with. We're talking to Ralph Peters here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You brought up Gitmo. Can we'll get 43? I want you to listen to Gitmo was brought up. I think
I loved his answer.
Yeah. Here's 43.
It is not a surprise to me that we've got problems in Guantanamo, which is why when I was campaigning in 2007 and 2008, and when I was elected in 2008, I said we need to close Guantanamo. I continue to believe that we've got to close Guantanamo. I think, I think it is critical for us to understand that Guantanamo is not necessary to keep America safe. It is expensive. It is inefficient. It hurts us in terms of our international standing. It lessens cooperation with our allies on counterterrorism efforts. It is a recruitment tool for extremists. It needs to be closed.
There you go.
Well, actually, I like the part. Didn't he, well, perhaps I'm mixing up news conferences, but did he say something about we don't want these terrorists?
Yes. Okay. Yes. We got 44. Well, we should point out the hunger strike and the riots and the problems that have been taking place there. Yes. Listen to what he says in the next cut. 44.
Now, Congress determined that they would not let us close it, and despite the fact that there are a number of the folks who are currently in Guantanamo who the courts have said could be returned to their country of origin or potentially a third country. I'm going to go back at this. I've asked my team to review everything that's currently being done in Guantanamo, everything that we can do administratively, and I'm going to re-engage with Congress to try to make the case that this is not something that's in the best interest of the American people.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't have that part, but yes, then he was at that, but he said we don't want those people to die, the ones on a hunger strike.
See, that's why I'm not a member of the White House press corps, because if I'd been in that room, I would have jumped up and said, me, I want them to die, Mr. President. If terrorists want to starve themselves to death, Steve, it may shock you, but I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I, Ralph. Neither do I. We're talking to Ralph Peters here, the Fox News analyst, Fox News Channel strategic analyst, and you read him if you're in New York and around the country, New York Post, among other places. And before we get to Syria, let's talk about, first of all, the great honor that your current book has received, and then tell us about Hell or Richmond, which comes out next Tuesday.
Well, I was really surprised and thrilled that the American Library Association chose my last novel, Cain at Gettysburg, for it's called the Boyd Award for Literary Excellence in Military Writing or Military Fiction. And it was a big deal because, it was a very popular book. It did quite well. The critical reviews were first rate, but the New York Times just ignored it totally, and the books they pushed didn't win. So there was a little bit of schadenfreude there.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, good for you. And Hell or Richmond?
Hell or Richmond comes out next Tuesday. It took more out of me than any book I've ever written. It's about the bloodiest month in American history until the end of World War II, the last months of World War II. It's set in 30 days, in May and June of 1864, when there were 88,000 American casualties in 30 days. The battles of the Wilderness, Cold Harbor, and Wilderness, Spotsylvania, and Cold Harbor. Utterly grim. I mean, it was just a time of absolute, utter breakdown and savagery, and people don't know about it. I mean, kids don't learn about this stuff in school anymore.
No, absolutely not. No,
So it's a good, exciting read. You'll learn something about American history, and you'll also find out that when people tell you our country's never been so divided, well, we were a little more divided.
Yeah, I would say so. I can't wait to get it and read it, Ralph. And we'll have you back in a couple of weeks to talk about the book specifically.
Great.
But let's go to Syria. We have cut 40, I believe, which is the president talking about Syria. He was asked about the possible use of chemical weapons, the red line statement, the game changer statement, and here's what he had to say. No, we don't. All right, we don't have that one for some reason.
Steve,
but we know what he said. You talk about tap dance. He tap danced around that one real good, saying all of a sudden, well, we think they used it, but we don't know. Well, we're not sure who did it. If they did use it, it could have been the government. It could have been the rebels. So until we're sure, we're not going to do anything. Otherwise, that damages our credit. I mean, I can't believe what's going on here.
Well, he basically said, well, red. Yeah, I said red, but there are 50 shades of red, and it's just he's such a weasel. But here's the problem. Steve, with strategy, it's not just about doing the right thing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. And if you wait too long and do what looked like the right thing at the wrong time, you can make things worse. And I've really come around on this. Had Obama given judicious aid, weapons, intelligence, etc., not boots on the ground, weapons, intelligence, to the insurgents when they were still moderate in the first 8, 9, 10 months of the insurgency, Assad would be gone. It would be a game changer. We'd have a new government in Syria. But he waited, and people died. And it opened the door for the jihadis. And the Saudis supported some jihadi factions. The Qataris supported others. Even our supposed NATO allies, the Turks, supported Muslim Brotherhood factions. And so now I'm very reluctant to aid either side, because in terms of I'm sorry for the innocent civilians that are dying. But at some point, when Arabs are slaughtering Arabs, maybe they need to figure it out for themselves. And I'll tell you, in cold realpolitik terms, right now, Assad's thugs and jihadi thugs are slaughtering each other. And I don't have a big problem with that.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't want to see American boots on the ground. And certainly, and Ralph, you could answer this better than me. Who the heck are the rebels?
Well, that's the problem. Initially, we had a chance because the rebels were moderates, some secularists, they were tolerant. But as a bloody fight like this goes on, attitudes harden, intolerance grows. And, of course, because Obama delegated support for the insurgents to the Saudis and the Qataris and others, Saudi Arabia doesn't want a democratic rule of law Syria. It wants future Syria to look like a poor man's Saudi Arabia. And so naturally they supported ugly factions, different jihadi factions. And now, although the jihadis are not yet politically dominant in the opposition, they are militarily dominant. And when Assad comes down, the guys with the guns are going to take over. And so I have no sympathy with Assad. I hate that guy. He's killed Americans. But, my God, at this point, a jihadi government in Damascus would be, to my mind, even worse. So if it were up to me, I'd be very cynical. I would clandestinely slip the Assad regime targeting information about the worst jihadis. I would slip the moderate rebels that are left targeting information against Assad's thugs. And, oh, by the way, Hezbollah fighters are now in this on the government side, with Iran's behind,
right,
and
supporting Syria.
Assad.
Yeah.
The Al-Qaeda types are on the other side now, and people were worried about Israel's security. But I'll tell you, when the jihadi thugs and the Syrian government thugs are killing each other, they're not attacking Israel, and that's another plus.
That's true, except, I read a report today, Ralph, one final question, that like all of the thugs, Al-Qaeda is trying to get its hands on the chemical weapons.
Well, glad you brought that up, because we do have one hard, cold strategic interest in Syria, and that is preventing the extremist fanatics, the Islamist fanatics, from getting their hands on chemical weapons. All of our military planning should be directed toward that end. And it's going to be tough because, again, we waited so long. Some of them are dispersed.
Right.
But we do need a plan with airstrikes and, if necessary, limited special operations to keep the chemical weapons out of jihadi hands. It's going to be hard, but that's one thing we got to do.
Absolutely. Ralph, a pleasure. Insightful as always. We watch you on Fox News, and read the book, folks. It's coming out next Tuesday. Get your orders in Amazon all over the place. Hell or Richmond by the great Ralph Peters. We'll speak to you soon, Ralph, I promise.
Thank you.
Take care. Ralph Peters, ladies and gentlemen. All right, very, very interesting. And this is a man who has been in the field, been in the theaters he's talking about, great historian, great writer, great novelist. And these books that he writes, and especially these on the Civil War, I have found fascinating. He's a great author, and that award for Cain at Gettysburg was well deserved. I know one friend of mine, Craig, who can't get enough of Civil War stuff. So I know he'll be purchasing, or maybe he'll be asking me to get him a free copy. I don't know, of Hell or Richmond. What do you think? Should I do it, folks? All right, we're going to come back. We got some sound bites for you that you are going to want to hear, I promise you. And in the next hour, as if all this isn't enough, we're going to get an update from the Philadelphia Inquirer writer who is covering the Gosnell trial. Of course, he's been with us before, Joseph Slobodian. And Dr. Jason Johnson and I will go at it. We'll talk about the first NBA player, the first major sports athlete to come out of the closet, and also talk about the call by some, including Congressman Peter King and others, to profile Muslims in this country to prevent more Boston-type attacks. All that is straight ahead. Don't touch that dial, whether it's Newsmax.com or XM 166. You're listening to and watching The Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A tragic fire, a break-in, a fall. Look, accidents and emergencies really do happen. The difference between life and death could be as simple as the push of a button. That's where Medical Guardian comes in. Are you afraid that something tragic may happen with no one around to help? What if you or your elderly loved one had a fall and lay for hours or even days before any help arrived? What if it was just too late? You don't have to live in fear that something terrible could happen. It's time you discovered Medical Guardian. Life-saving help at the push of a button. Get the peace of mind you need for yourself and your loved ones. Call 800-550-3470 right now. Be one of the first 100 callers and get your first month of Medical Guardian free. 800-550-3470. Call now and get your first month for free. The help you need is at your fingertips. Ensure your safety today with Medical Guardian. 800-550-3470. That's 800-550-3470.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Voice of talk radio is here. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call the show at 855-777-9660. Here is Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Steve Malzberg Show. I was going to play you some. I was watching Reliable Sources on CNN over the weekend, and Howard Kurtz had Cenk Uygur on. I always say his name, Cenk Uygur, I guess, from the Young Turks on. And Cenk Uygur is the guy who, one of the guys who said that he was hoping, wishing that the Boston bombers were not Muslims. You know, which it's just kind of bizarre. And then he comes on Howard Kurtz's show and starts critiquing the media coverage of this. And it's never brought up that he said what he said. Just bizarre stuff. Here, let's listen to cut number 8.
Let's be honest about who makes it vitriolic. It's usually Fox News talking about Muslims, which is ironic because this is the same Bill O'Reilly who kept calling Dr. Tiller the baby killer until Scott Roeder shot him. So here's a fundamentalist that's a Christian worried about fundamentalists who are Muslims and driving people to violence. I mean, understand. It's incredibly ironic.
I mean, this. First of all, look, I got to tell you something. Talk about intellect. I have never been impressed with Cenk's intellect at all, ever. And I shouldn't say that. I just think he has a very schleppy presentation, and the intellect is. Maybe it's just because he's so far to the left, but saying that Bill O'Reilly was responsible for the shooting of an abortion doctor is just as sick and twisted as you could get. If Bill O'Reilly was responsible for the shooting of an abortion doctor, then remember the woman who at the University of Alabama shot 3 people in the teachers' lounge? Remember that? This is 2.5 years ago. Well, it turned out, according to her family, she was a big Barack Obama supporter. Loved Barack Obama. That was in the Boston Globe or the Boston Herald. I don't remember which one. Now, you recall that Barack Obama, when he was running for president in 2008, said, if they bring a knife to the fight, we'll bring a gun. Well, if Bill O'Reilly is responsible for what he said on the air for some nut shooting an abortion doctor, then I guess saying bring a gun to a knife fight could have prompted this woman who was angry that she didn't get tenure and is a big Obama fan, could have drove her in her head. This is her knife fight, tenure. She lost, so she brought a gun and she used it. I mean, isn't that a ridiculous leap? Of course it is. But he just made it that Bill O'Reilly, a Christian fundamentalist. Do we know that Bill O'Reilly's a Christian fundamentalist? But even if he were, this is insane. This is insane. Here's cut number 9.
But the main point, guys, is fundamentalism. Whether it's Muslim fundamentalism or it's Christian fundamentalism. And, Michael, get real. I mean, we've had how many abortion doctors killed because of Christian fundamentalists? The Olympic Park bomber was a Christian fundamentalist.
True. It's not
fundamentalism
true.
That connects it.
It
is true. Eric, hold on.
It is not.
You know what it's called? Army of God.
Christian fundamentalists are. How many abortion doctors in this country have been killed? Don't get me wrong. You shoot anybody, it's wrong. You shoot one abortion doctor, it's one too many. So don't get me wrong. But how many have been killed? 1, 2, 3? I'm saying, don't get me wrong. It's not to minimize the act. It's wrong, and whoever did it should be put to death. But how many thousands of people have been killed from Islamic terror? Christian fundamentalists? Where's the movement of Christian fundamentalists to kill abortion doctors or kill anybody? It's Muslim, Islamic extremists, Muslim fundamentalists. There is no Christian movement to kill people, or Jewish movement for that matter. Let's go to cut 10.
And I said before we found out the suspect's identity here, because that was really an interesting moment. We didn't know whether they were right-wing or we didn't know if they were Muslims. We didn't know who they were. I said our reaction should be the same no matter what, so that right-wingers, left-wingers, whoever should all agree what our proper reaction should be before we find out who it is, so we don't fly off the handle either way.
Yeah, well, you were already flying off the handle, but he doesn't tell you. And shame on Howard Kurtz for not knowing that this guy, not only he didn't just say, if he did say this at all, we should, no matter who did it, we should treat them the same. He said, I'm paraphrasing. He was talking about a columnist who was wishing and praying that the bombers were white. And he said, at first I wasn't going to go there, but you know, I'm hoping they're not Muslim. So he was hoping that it wasn't a certain race of people. So what does that tell you? If they're not Muslim, chances are they're white, right? So he was hoping that they were white. And he presents himself as this fair, we got to treat them no matter who it is. Shame on Howard Kurtz for not knowing what he said and putting him on as some kind of moderate. He's a left-wing kook on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you owe the IRS back taxes and they're making your life miserable, get ready for a special free offer. Expert tax advisors can help you protect your home from liens, stop wage garnishment, and give you immediate collection relief. In fact, we guarantee to contact the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client to start the tax relief process. Don't try to take on the most powerful organization in the United States by yourself. Call for free tax relief information and a free consultation on how we can help you. There is no cost or obligation to discover the programs that are available to stop your IRS problems from getting worse. Call our toll-free helpline now, 800-390-6910. That's 800-390-6910. The IRS will not go away. The pressure you feel now will only grow. Get the help you deserve. Call for a free no-obligation consultation now. Tax relief is just a phone call away. Call expert tax advisors at 800-390-6910. That's 800-390-6910.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. The focus of the investigation into the Boston Marathon bombings remains on the widow of suspect Tamerlan Tsarnaev. Monday, FBI agents visited the Rhode Island family home of Catherine Russell. According to reports, agents collected a DNA sample and checked it against DNA found on a bomb fragment at the blast scene. Lab tests could help determine if Russell ever had contact with the device, but right now investigators say she is not a suspect. Meanwhile, her attorney says the widow is cooperating with detectives, and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev could get a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. He has not answered any questions since being read his Miranda rights just 1 week ago. And George Zimmerman, the Florida man accused of killing Trayvon Martin, waives his right to a pretrial stand-your-ground hearing in what will likely be Zimmerman's last appearance before his murder trial in June. The court wanted to know if Zimmerman would need to have his rights explained to him under Florida's self-defense law. The judge also ordered both sides to provide a new and clearer version of the 911 call made the night of Trayvon's death, on which a person can be heard screaming. And in a pivotal special congressional election, former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford and Democrat Elizabeth Colbert Bush squared off in a testy and personal debate last night. Sanford is hoping for redemption after a 2009 trip to Argentina to visit his mistress, which forced him to leave office in shame. Sanford's Democratic opponent, Colbert Bush, brought it up first in an answer about Sanford's record as governor.
When we talk about fiscal spending and we talk about protecting the taxpayers, it doesn't mean you take that money we saved and leave the country for a personal purpose.
You don't go through the experience I had back in 2009 without a greater level of humility.
Sanford did beat out more than a dozen Republicans in the primary. Now he's trying to shift the focus to Colbert Bush, the sister of comedian Stephen Colbert, by highlighting his sister's liberal supporters. And when your Newsmax Now update returns, spring snow blankets Coors Field in Denver, the special steps the ground crew had to take to get the field ready for play, plus a Newsmax exclusive with former White House advisor Elliott Abrams on Syria and why the world is so closely watching the U.S. for its response to chemical weapon use. That's next.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policy policies of $500,000 and above. A man aged 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers, too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Welcome back. The Colorado Rockies ground crew had to get to work super early to clear snow from Coors Field, and that allowed the Braves and Rockies to play, but all that snow did force the team to close parts of the stadium. It has been a snowy spring for Denver and the Rockies. Winter weather has postponed 3 games over the last 9 days. And the owner of that building that collapsed in Bangladesh, killing at least 400 people, had to wear police riot gear just to appear in court. An angry crowd shouted and hit Mohammed Sohail Rana. That's him under the helmet there. Authorities say the factory that he owned was illegally built, and Rana is therefore responsible for the deaths of hundreds of garment workers. There are still close to 1,000 people missing in the rubble. And during an exclusive interview with Newsmax TV, former White House advisor Elliot Abrams says the number of jihadists in Syria could double in the next year if the U.S. does not intervene.
One of the reasons that I've been, and a lot of other people have been critical of the administration letting this go on for 2 years, is the jihadis are getting stronger and stronger, and there are more and more of them. Estimates now are there are about 5,000 of them, real jihadis, the kind that are linked to al-Qaeda.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for April 30th. I'm John Bachman. Now to the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
When an event like this happens, we want to go back and we want to review every step that was taken. We want to leave no stone unturned. We want to see, is there in fact additional protocols and procedures that could be put in place that would further improve and enhance our ability to detect a potential attack. And we won't know that until that review is completed. We won't know that until the investigation of the actual crime is fully completed, and that's still ongoing.
I'm telling you, folks. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Barack Obama at his press conference today. Can you tell if he was talking about Benghazi or the bombings in Boston? It's like the same thing. Well, we got to get to the bottom of it, and we want to make sure it can't happen again, and we got to, could it have been prevented, and what could we do to, but we got to get to the bottom of it and find out exactly what happened. I'm telling you, you could replay that answer, and you could use it for either event. Welcome back. Big hour ahead. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to get an update on the Gosnell, Dr. Gosnell, and I use the word Dr. lightly, trial, murder trial. Perhaps the biggest serial killer this country has ever seen. A man who was charged with murder of babies born alive and of a woman who he was giving an abortion to, and a man who's been accused of collecting body parts of little babies and storing them in the freezer, among other places. So just a disgusting, disgusting case. We'll get that update. And we'll be debating with our friend, Dr. Jason Johnson, senior politics editor for Politic365.com, as we talk about the first NBA player to come out, and we talk about some who are calling for more profiling of Muslims in this country. But I want to, obviously, I should tell you, the president was talking about the Boston investigation, and he had more to say on the Boston investigation. Here's cut 34.
But what I can say is that based on what I've seen so far, the FBI performed its duties. Department of Homeland Security did what it was supposed to be doing. But this is hard stuff.
It's hard stuff. It's hard stuff to stop a terrorist attack. It's hard stuff. You know why it's really hard stuff? Yeah, okay, the FBI talked to that guy. bomber number one who's dead because Russia suggested we talk to him. But according to Congressman Gohmert and others, the FBI was prohibited from asking him about jihad and Islamic terror because they're not allowed to say that anymore because of groups, according to the congressman, who had influence with the FBI who they, according to him, brag about influence with the FBI, groups like CARE and others. So, yeah, you could say the FBI did its job, but what's its job, Mr. President? Why are their hands tied behind their backs? Why are we not allowed to call it what it is? Oh, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, and you made it a lot harder. Shall we go to cut 35?
And I've said for quite some time that because of the pressure that we put on Al-Qaeda core, because of the pressure that we put on these networks that are well-financed and more sophisticated and can engage in and project transnational threats against the United States, one of the dangers that we now face are self-radicalized individuals who are already here in the United States. In some cases may not be part of any kind of network, but because of whatever warped, twisted ideas they may have, may decide to carry out an attack.
Oh, it's because he's doing such a good job at dismantling Al-Qaeda that results in these lone wolves here. Now, did he say Al-Qaeda Corp? Can we just play that again and I'll cut it off? But he said something about because of our success in Al-Qaeda Corp. Did I hear that right? Maybe I heard it wrong. Let's play that again.
And I've said for quite some time that because of the pressure that we put on Al-Qaeda Corp, because of the pressure.
Al-Qaeda Corp? Al-Qaeda Corp? I don't know what he's talking about. The core of Al-Qaeda? Is that what he's trying to say? And it's because we've done such a good job in getting Al-Qaeda, it's bound to happen. You're going to have these kinds of guys. And why they act the way they do, why they have these crazy ideas, President has no idea. It's called Islamic terror, Mr. President. The FBI can't say it, but I could say it, and I will say it, and I did say it. And political correctness is going to result in dead Americans, as it certainly may have after the FBI did its job, but had its job description changed and was unable to do what its job should be, and maybe they would have gotten to the bottom of what this terrorist was up to before he had a chance to act. But if you can't say Islamic terror, and you can't say jihad, and you can't say this, and you can't say that, well, you know what? It makes the FBI's job just a little bit harder. Wouldn't you say so? Wouldn't you say so? All right, folks, we are going to come back, and we're going to be joined by, well, by the way, the FBI, you know, they took the bags of evidence, including some containing DNA samples from the home in Rhode Island where the widow of the first dead terrorist lives. She's been living. FBI agents spent hours at the home of Catherine Russell's parents in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, came out with bags marked as DNA samples, according to one person who saw it, and they're looking for evidence. Now, yesterday we found out that on the bomb, on some part of the bomb, might have been on the pressure cooker, whatever, there was female DNA. Now, I didn't know that you could look at DNA and know if it comes from a male or a female. I guess I should have known that. It never dawned on me. But female DNA, they don't know whose it is. It could be very innocent. Could have been someone in the store who sold them who touched the pressure cooker. Who knows? But it could also, I mean, the FBI's got to be thinking that's why they took her DNA. But let's put it this way. If they took her DNA, they must want it to try to match it with something somewhere at some point. I mean, that's common sense. So we'll see how this progresses. But, yeah, the FBI did its job. Problem is, you, Mr. President, changed the FBI's job since you've been president. And that's why they couldn't do the job they should have done. Coming back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
A bombshell in the world of sports. An active NBA player tells Sports Illustrated that he is gay. The NBA's Jason Collins has entered the history books today. As of today, he's the first openly gay male athlete playing a major team sport in America. This is a big deal.
This is huge. It is a huge story, ladies and gentlemen. There is none bigger. He's in the history books. All right, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend, and he is the one and only Dr. Jason Johnson, Senior Politics Editor for Politics365.com. Hello, Doctor. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. Oh, I'm on one. Am I on one? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong camera. Anyway, well, welcome back. Oh, now I'm on. Okay. Welcome back. There it is. Now I'm on the right camera. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about this. Do you see this as something significant, something huge, or a big yawn?
You know, it's a mixture of both. As far as I'm concerned, this isn't Jesse Owens. This isn't Curt Flood. It's not going to radically transform how sports are watched or enjoyed in the United States. But if somebody who's gay feels it's important to come out and tell the rest of the world that he's gay, I say all power to him. And I don't disagree with people who have problems with him being gay. As long as it doesn't affect his ability to get a job, I don't think it's that big a deal.
Well, you bring up a topic that could be very sensitive, because right now he doesn't have a job. And they keep saying he's playing for a team. He's not technically playing for a team. And he's 34, 36 years old, bench player, you know, averaging throughout his career a couple of 3 points a game. I mean, he could have a role to play on a team, but he might not. And you know, I think Mark Cuban might take him, but for the wrong reasons, and try to make him a sideshow. But aside from that, if he doesn't get picked, I'm sure people will start saying, "Oh, it's because he came out." But you said you don't have a problem with people who have a problem with it. Explain.
Well, you know, for example, you've got Chris Broussard by ESPN, and he just came out and said, "Look, I think that being gay is a sin."
I'm glad you brought that up, and I was going to save it, but since you brought it up, and I don't want to interrupt you, only to play the soundbite, let's listen to what Chris Broussard of ESPN said yesterday. This is Cut 25, guys.
Personally, I don't believe that you can live an openly homosexual lifestyle or an openly premarital sex between heterosexuals. If you're openly living that type of lifestyle, then the Bible says you know them by their fruits. It says that, you know, that's a sin. And if you're openly living in unrepentant sin, whatever it may be, not just homosexuality, adultery, fornication, premarital sex between heterosexuals, whatever it may be, I believe that's walking in open rebellion to God and to Jesus Christ. So I would not characterize that person as a Christian, because I don't think the Bible would characterize him as a Christian.
All right. Now, I have no problem with what he just said, because it's his personal belief. He has every right to express it. Yet, and I don't think you do, so we're going to probably agree on this, yet the left and the media and ESPN had to apologize, I read, and it's just, you know, there are calls for him to lose his job for this.
Yeah, and I think that's ridiculous, and for several reasons. Number one, he is an NBA analyst. So this isn't Ben Carson. You know, he's talking about something that is right within the area that he's supposed to be talking about as an NBA analyst. And the second thing is this: if people have a particular set of beliefs based on their interpretation of the Bible or the Torah or whatever it is that they believe in, that's their right. Unless he is saying that Jason Collins can't get a job, unless he's saying Jason Collins can't get a house in my neighborhood or can't eat at my table, Chris Broussard has every right to have that belief, and I don't think he should be fired. And I think that's important. I think that's one area where there's this sort of unfortunate tendency sometimes to say that just because people have differing beliefs, that automatically makes them bigots. That's not the case.
Absolutely. It makes them a homophobe, or if you disagree on any variety of issues, they got a name for you. But why did you have to say, Jason, why did you have to say it's not Ben Carson? He's an analyst, an NBA analyst, and he's supposed to talk about this. Are you saying that Ben Carson should only be allowed or people should only be interested in hearing him talk about medicine?
No, what I'm saying is, as an academic, see, when you're speaking as an ESPN analyst and you're talking about basketball, you're free to opine however you want. But if you are a college professor at a university, the university is affected by what you say. And therefore, you have to take into consideration your employer before you open your mouth. And so I think in Ben Carson's case, some of the things he said, hey, look, he needs to run that by Johns Hopkins. I can't run my mouth without running things by my school occasionally. And I think that's different than what Chris Broussard did.
Well, of course, a lot of people would say that Broussard put ESPN in a difficult position. Again, you and I don't think so, but certain people would say that. And I don't want to get into the debate about Ben Carson right now, although we certainly could, and we'll save that for another time. And we've talked about him in the past. But let's talk about this. You mentioned he's not you didn't mention Jackie Robinson in there, so because you mentioned two others and said he's not I forget who you mentioned, then I'm assuming you agree with me again, and that this in no way, shape. In fact, it's offensive to me as a white person. I can only imagine to black people to say that this is the gay Jackie Robinson.
It's not, but that's for a couple of reasons. And I did mention Jackie Robinson. I mentioned Kurt Flood. The reason is because
No, you mentioned actually Jesse Owens, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Jesse Owens. The reason is because of this. Number one, oppression and discrimination against gay people is different than discrimination against Jews, than discrimination against Asians or Latinos and African Americans. It is all different. I think it is insulting to the individual challenges that people face to just clump them all together. I think that's crazy. The second thing is this, and I think this is important about him coming out of the closet. He's 34 years old. He's a free agent. He's pretty much at the end of his career. So it's not like if this guy never gets a job again, that could have happened to him anyway. So, I don't think it's the same thing as challenging the system when you still have the rest of your career ahead of you. I think it's very different than what Jackie Robinson did or Kurt Flood or a lot of other people.
Well, again, but Jackie, even Kurt Flood. I mean, Kurt Flood put his career on the line. Actually, he championed. If he had lost that case, he probably would have been run out of baseball. But Jackie Robinson is unique. There'll never be another Jackie Robinson. I mean, imagine he couldn't. I mean, and worse than this. Yeah. Forget the names he was called by his own teammates. Forget the being thrown at and hit with pitches and everything. He couldn't travel with the team, eat with the team, stay with the team. I mean, there's never going to be another analogy that's a true analogy to Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, and the other thing is there are laws in place now to prevent it from happening. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, if Jason Collins joined a team and an NBA player wanted to be hostile to him or hit him or knock him over or call him names, there are laws about locker rooms, about workplace discrimination that would protect him from any of that abuse. And so it's not the same thing at all.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up about the locker room, because tell me where you stand on this. To me, this is a problem with the military, and it's a problem. I had Wayne Besson, a friend of mine from Truth Wins Out, a gay group, and I said to him, look, I said, what about the players who may feel a little squeamish, a little uneasy, a little uncomfortable, knowing, again, not that the guy's gay, because they know they play with gay people, but a guy coming out saying, I am gay, and now I'm showering with you. Not that he's going to attack him, not that he's going to lust after him, just humility, whatever, natural feelings that, wait, I feel funny. And the guy said, and Wayne Besson said to me, oh, it's the same in all work establishments. I said, where else do people shower together? And he said, a lifeguard. I said, lifeguards are in bathing suits. So do you agree that it's a legitimate concern to have, or if a player objects and says, I feel uncomfortable, that player, A, will probably be attacked mercilessly, and B, he should have a right to feel uncomfortable?
He has a right to feel uncomfortable. This is what I think is interesting. And I had to ask some friends of mine who are professional athletes and some people who are amateur athletes. The thing is, if you're in locker room culture, and I'm not, I haven't played a sport since college, but walking around nude is so common. Like, between regular men, if you're standing in front of a guy in a towel having a conversation naked, it makes you feel uncomfortable. But for a lot of professional athletes, their bodies are their jobs. They're actually not as squeamish about those sorts of issues. So if someone is uncomfortable, I think they have every right to express it. They have every right to say, hey, look, I don't want to shower with Collins. I don't want to shower after Collins. That's their own business. But I don't think most athletes are going to be particularly concerned about it because they spend so much time naked in front of each other. That's just
Yeah, for my first 10 years was spent covering sports, so I've been in a lot of the locker rooms. Anyway, listen, Jason, always a pleasure, my friend. We'll speak to you next week, I hope.
Thank you. Anytime.
Take care. Jason Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Jason Johnson, a senior politics editor for Politics365.com. When we come back, I love saying that. We're going to switch to the disgusting Kermit Gosnell murder trial and get the latest from Joseph Slobodian of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Later in the show, Lila Rose, the founder of Live Action, with her undercover into abortion clinics. Don't miss this show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Last year, over 1 million consumers searched lawyer.com looking for a top lawyer, and our traffic continues to grow dramatically. We now need more top lawyers to cover many market and practice areas. Join now and lock in membership pricing for only $59 per month. We have no contracts and an unconditional money-back guarantee. Call now to receive a special radio-only discount where you can save up to $480. If you're a lawyer and you're looking for quality leads, customers to build your practice, you must call right now. 877-314-2657, 877-314-2657, 877-314-2657. If you're a lawyer looking for leads, you must call this number right now. 877-314-2657, 877-314-2657.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Okay. Back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Before we get to our guest, I want you to hear something from a station in Philadelphia, a radio station in Philadelphia that does some stuff for NPR. This is a segment about the Gosnell trial. The doctor, abortion doctor, who's on trial for the murder of little babies and a patient, and is accused of keeping all kinds of little body parts from these babies and others in the freezer and all over the place. And before we get to our guest, our friend Joseph Slobodian, staff writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, who's been covering this trial, I want you to listen to this cut 22.
I don't think we'll really know why Gosnell, why we won't hear from the accused. I think, as I was talking to other court watchers, that was not really surprising that Gosnell himself did not take the stand. What did surprise some people is that this is a physician who had worked in our community for 30 years, cared for women and all of that time, and we didn't hear from one character witness or one person who was put on the stand to say that he was a competent physician.
She's surprised by that. This is a woman named Tanya English from this radio station in Philadelphia. This is a doctor who worked in the community taking care of women. Yeah, he took care of them all right. Joining us now is Joseph Slobodian of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Hey, Joseph, how are you?
Good, Steve. How are you?
Did you hear what I just played?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I want you to hear one more. Let's do cut 23. Cut 23.
The defense team, it seems, is really just trying to show that some of these children, and that's the term that the prosecutors used, were not actually born alive.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, they tiptoe around the words. He served women in the community for so many years. Tell the folks where this thing stands. The defense is rested, of course. What's going on?
Well, it's in the hands of the jury. The judge, the Philadelphia judge, Jeff Meinhardt, instructed the jury in the law this morning. They went out about 1:07. They just broke for the day at about 4:07 after 3 hours. They're back tomorrow. So the fate of Dr. Gosnell and Eileen O'Neill, the unlicensed doctor who worked in his clinic, is in the hands of 7 women and 5 men.
And, of course, eight previous people who worked in the clinic had already pleaded guilty to murder and other charges. But let me ask you this. Did anybody expect a 3-hour verdict, or is it too complicated?
A 3-hour, you mean a
decision, yeah.
Today? Well, some people may have, but I don't. I mean, I hesitate to predict anything that a jury will do, because normally you're going to be wrong. On the other hand, when you're dealing with 4 counts of first-degree murder, which could trigger the death penalty, 1 count of third-degree murder, 24 counts of performing abortions after 24 weeks, which is illegal in Pennsylvania, 227 counts of performing abortions without the mandatory 24-hour waiting period and counseling, and then a group of racketeering counts. That's a lot for a jury to go through in not only 3 hours, maybe even 3 days.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I know there are a lot of people, as you alluded to, that might have expected that this was an open and shut kind of case, but there are a heck of a lot of charges. And again, you were in the courtroom as the jury was charged. Anything unusual? Anything that sticks out in your mind?
Only the complexity of what they have to deal with. Although Dr. Gosnell, for example, is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, and that's certainly what the prosecutors are arguing they want a verdict on. The jury could decide to find him guilty of third-degree murder, which is a lesser count. It doesn't involve the premeditation and malice, and the premeditation involved. They could find him guilty of involuntary manslaughter, essentially arguing that he was negligent, but there was no attempt to purposely kill the newborns, or they could acquit him, obviously. So, I mean, there's a lot to weigh in each of these counts. Racketeering, whether it's federal or local, is traditionally a difficult decision for jurors to work their way through, because you've got to decide that there was a corrupt organization operating, and then you have to find that Dr. Gosnell or Dr. O'Neill did at least 2 things in furtherance of that corrupt organization. So it's a lot to go through, especially for lay people who may not be familiar with this kind of legal language.
And what did Gosnell look like? What was his demeanor? Was it different today than it's been throughout? And what is it?
Throughout the trial, he has been unflappable. I mean, he looks as if he's a spectator at someone else's trial. He doesn't appear upset. He often has like a puzzling half smile on his face as he listens to things. He looks a little more tired now than he did at the start of the trial, but then it's 8 weeks later.
Yeah.
Been in court and every single day. So it could wear on you, I'm sure.
And where did the, I hate to be gruesome here, but where do the what are the charges related to the body parts in the freezer and wherever else they were found?
Well, actually, the body parts were among some of the counts that were thrown out by the judge after the prosecution rested its case. There are abuse of corpse charges, and I think the judge didn't explain his ruling, but my take on it is just that the body parts were from fetuses so young they would not have been viable, and so the inference is they would never have been born under any circumstance.
All right, so I guess collecting body parts theoretically of babies who are aborted, and and then when they come out and they're dead. I mean, I guess it's not against the law to save a foot as a trophy. I mean, am I correct? I mean, even a serial killer, gets charged, I guess, for the serial killings, not for for if they save a pinky or a foot or an arm or a leg from each victim, right? I mean, I guess that's not a charge.
Well, the charge is abuse of corpse.
Okay.
And again, I don't know why necessarily the judge agreed to dismiss that. Although, on the other hand, when you're dealing with a defendant who's facing 4 first-degree murder counts and then 200 some other counts, the body parts are probably the least he has to worry about. On the other hand,
I just wanted to know because I had this is one of the more gruesome parts of the whole thing. I mean, obviously the killing of the babies is the most horrific, and the woman dying and the whole thing. But the saving of the body parts is totally bizarre.
Well, and Dr. Gosnell's explanation for that, for the feet it was for DNA and identification purposes, which the experts who testified pretty much discounted that. And the other parts in the freezer at the clinic were Dr. Gosnell claimed that he was having a dispute with the biological waste disposal company, a billing dispute, and until it was resolved, he just stored things in the clinic.
Oh, boy. We're talking to Joseph Slobodian, staff writer. I've come a long way with your name. It's very easy. I don't know why the first time I had all that trouble, because Slobodian is very easy. Staff writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, who's been kind enough to come on with us regularly during his own responsibilities with the Philadelphia Inquirer. Let me ask you this. I mean, I've been watching cable. I've had CNN on all day, for instance. That's a TV that's in front of me right now. I don't think I've seen one mention of the fact that this case has gone to the jury. Our friends at the Media Research Center will be monitoring tonight, but I doubt that NBC, ABC, CBS are going to make mention. They won't find time to mention that this case has gone to the jury. When the verdict comes in, if he's found guilty of more on the more serious side, let's say, of the charges, as opposed to you never know. I mean, if it's only third-degree murder, or involuntary manslaughter, they might then champion that and say, well, it's not so bad, and report on it. Whereas if it's tougher charges, tougher convictions, they might shy away from it. So, but my question to you is, what do you think the rest of the media is going to do when the verdict comes in?
Well, all I can tell you is that everybody was outside today. CNN had a truck outside. NBC actually interviewed me this afternoon. I don't know whether they plan to run that tonight or not. There are plenty of media outside today, but I guess you'll have to tune in to see what's on the air.
Yeah, very true. Because, like I said, I know CNN's in Boston still, and they're doing other news. They did the press conference. Obviously, it is a busy news day as far as that goes. But I just haven't seen anything else as far as that goes. All right, listen, I appreciate it, Joseph, and certainly when a verdict comes in, we'll try to get you, and you'll be at your busiest, so it'll be a challenge for us. But we'll reach out to you, and thank you for your time again.
No problem. My pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, Joseph Slobodian, ladies and gentlemen, staff writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Talking about the trial. The case that has gone to the jury, doctor accused of killing 4 newborns and a patient by performing illegal abortions. And we don't have to go in again, do we, to exactly how those little babies were killed. Now, there are people that I have talked to who even notwithstanding this trial and the publicity around it, although it's been minimal, still say, well, how often does this kind of stuff happen? How often is a baby born alive and not protected and not kept alive? How often is a baby born alive and then allowed to die, or has its spinal cord snapped with a scissor, as is the accusation here in the case against Dr. Gosnell? And in the next hour, first of all, we got a big next hour coming up. We have Mike Baker, formerly with the CIA, president of a private intelligence and security firm called Diligence. Mike Baker, you see him on Fox News all the time. He will be here in studio for a half hour. We're going to talk about this case, start to finish, top to bottom, the Boston bombing, and the impediments that have been placed in front of our law enforcement, the communications between our law enforcement, how the case is proceeding, what the DNA on the bomb might mean, everything. And then in the second half hour, we're going to be joined by Lila Rose. Lila Rose is the founder of Live Action, a pro-life group, and she and others in her group go undercover into Planned Parenthood, into abortion clinics. Well, they're doing it again, and they went to the Bronx, and they went to one in Washington, D.C. They've released the videos. We have sound and video from the video in D.C. where a 23-month pregnant woman goes in with the camera hidden, starts asking, what happens if the baby's born alive? Are you going to take care of it? Well, you know, we're supposed to, but nah, you know, that kind. Wait till you hear this. So for those who believe it doesn't happen, or that if it did happen, they would do the right thing, they're not doing the right thing. And we have a president, instead of looking down and frowning upon that and trying to put a stop to that, basically in his own mind, I believe, applauds that. Because he himself did not vote yes on the Born Alive Protection Act in Illinois when he was in the state Senate. He couldn't bring himself to do it because somehow it was an infringement on a woman's right to choose. Women's right to choose what? To kill your live baby? Maybe we should give women a chance, you know, like a product. You know, you take it home for 30 days, you don't like it, you bring it back, you just make sure you have the receipt. But in this case, no receipt needed, and you don't bring it back. You just leave it somewhere or throw it away. I mean, it's not really a baby in the first 30 days, right? You know, it's not a baby in the 9th month, 3rd trimester. It's not really a baby. It's a thing. It's a woman's body. It's not a baby. It's a woman's health issue. So maybe they should just, you know, have the option after it's born to decide, do I really want this? You know, it's my body, and I know it's not in my body, but it came from my body, and you know, I'm not feeling too good, so that's a health issue, so bye. Well, that's extreme, of course. But how extreme is it that you can't vote yes on a bill that says if a baby is born alive, you give that baby every protection under the law that everyone else gets? Nope, couldn't do it. Not Barack Obama, baby, because he's mainstream. He's mainstream. It's Republicans who are radical on the life issue, not Barack Obama. No, abortion on demand, abortion anytime, doesn't want his daughters punished with a baby, you name it. He's mainstream. All right, we're coming back. We have a segment to go in this hour before we get to Mike Baker and Lila Rose on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world might get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today. In this free offer, we are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th birthday commemorative edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax magazine every month.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in R22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Coming up in the next hour, Mike Baker, former CIA and president of Diligence, will join us, and Lila Rose, founder of the pro-life group Live Action, will join us, talking about the coverage of Gosnell, the trial. 42 days ago, or actually 43, on March 18th of 2013, abortionist Kermit Gosnell went on trial, charged with murdering multiple babies and a patient. And in the 7 weeks that followed, ABC News has permitted no coverage, discussion, or mention of the case, not even a single utterance of Gosnell's name. Not One. I mean, this is incredible. That's incredible. Over the same 42 days, the Media Research Center found that ABC's Good Morning America has aired 41 stories, about one per day, on other sensational criminal cases, including Amanda Knox's retrial, Jodi Arias, totaling 109 minutes of coverage. So 109 minutes of coverage of trials since the Gosnell trial started 7 weeks ago on GMA, and not one word about a man who may be one of the biggest serial killers this country's ever seen. Why? Because he's killing little babies that were born of botched abortions, allegedly. That's why. How will that look to women who want to go get abortions? It might stop one and make her think twice. We can't do that. Unbelievable. Really, it's just mind-boggling. All right. Here's something that's a little surprising. I know Ellen Ratner. Ellen Ratner is a liberal journalist. You've seen her on Fox News for many, many years as a contributor, talking head, whatever. And on Thursday, she published an article titled "George W. Bush has saved more lives than any American president." And she writes, "George W. Bush, not Barack Obama, is the real American hero in Africa. Take it from me, a liberal Democrat who voted for Obama twice." And after discussing her knowledge of the problems on that continent, and this is a story put forth by our friend Noel Shepard at Newsbusters, Ratner continues her praise for George W. Bush. "Back in early 2008, when I started my work in South Sudan, I have been working closely with Christian Solidarity International. Everyone was excited about the possibility of Barack Obama becoming president. Indeed, after Obama won the U.S. election in November of 2008, many Africans in South Sudan and everywhere else were proud to wear T-shirts with photo of President Obama on them. Yet now that Obama's first term is drawn to a close, the positive buzz about Obama has dramatically shifted. The Obama excitement and the T-shirts have most disappeared. In fact, South Sudanese today are thinking more about another U.S. president that would be Obama's predecessor, Bush 43. As a liberal Democrat and supporter, I was particularly struck by this. Yes, Bush is a hero in Africa, and Americans, too, should know why. No American president, before or since, has had Bush's vision and determination to save so many millions of lives. 5 million children, women, and men have received antiretroviral treatment under PEPFAR, Ratner wrote. In 2010 alone, 600,000 pregnant mothers received treatment so their newborn children would not be infected. Yes, millions of people live productive, healthy lives due to Bush 43, and this is so they wouldn't be infected with AIDS. And that's President Bush. And I've heard this from people speaking in Africa, but for Ellen Ratner to say this, that's pretty telling. I think that's pretty telling. You want to hear something else that's telling? Remember, Al Gore sold his current TV network, that's what it's called, to Al Jazeera. Because Al Gore loves Al Jazeera. They're balanced, they're fair. We need more journalists like Al Jazeera. You know who threw Al Jazeera off their TV systems in their country? Iraq. Iraq, this is another Noel Shepard. Iraq on Sunday suspended the license of Al Jazeera for promoting violence and sectarianism. Yes, Al, you're as right about Al Jazeera as you are about global warming, and the seas will rise up. This guy is a piece of work, just a piece of work. And bravo to Israel. An Israeli airstrike killed a key terror figure responsible for firing rockets from the Gaza Strip into Israel, according to the IDF. I believe he was on a motorcycle, and they blasted him from the sky. What a way to go. All right, folks, we're coming back. Big hour ahead. The bombing suspects and the abortion clinics on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. President Obama answers questions from the press during a rare news conference today.
We are the largest humanitarian donor. We have worked to strengthen the opposition. We have provided non-lethal assistance to the opposition. We have applied sanctions on Syria.
Among the items posed to the president, Obamacare and concerns over the lengthy application process, as well as other problems. Today, even the president admitted his namesake legislation faces a bumpy road. Also, Obama said the FBI has done its duty, his words in the Boston Marathon bombing case, and so far, he has confirmed that the U.S. is sending more medical supplies and food to Syrian rebels, but he also says he needs to make sure that he has all the facts about chemical weapon use before committing the U.S. to military action. And George Zimmerman, the Florida man accused of killing Trayvon Martin, waives his right to a pretrial stand-your-ground hearing in what will likely be Zimmerman's last appearance before his murder trial in June. The court wanted to know if Zimmerman would need to have his rights explained to him under Florida's self-defense law. The judge also ordered both sides to provide a new and clearer version of the 911 call made the night of Trayvon's death, on which a person can be heard screaming. And in a pivotal special congressional election, former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford and Democrat Elizabeth Colbert Bush squared off in a testy and personal debate last night. Sanford is hoping for redemption after a 2009 trip to Argentina to visit his mistress, which forced him to leave office in shame. Sanford's Democratic opponent, Colbert Bush, brought it up first in an answer about Sanford's record as governor.
When we talk about fiscal spending and we talk about protecting the taxpayers, it doesn't mean you take that money we saved and leave the country for a personal purpose.
You don't go through the experience I had back in 2009 without a greater level of humility.
Sanford did beat out more than a dozen Republicans in the primary. Now he's trying to shift the focus to Colbert Bush, the sister of comedian Stephen Colbert, by highlighting his sister's liberal supporters. And when your Newsmax Now update returns, spring snow blankets Coors Field in Denver, the special steps the ground crew had to take to get the field ready for play, plus a Newsmax exclusive with former White House advisor Elliott Abrams on Syria and why the world is so closely watching the U.S. for its response to chemical weapon use. That's next.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Welcome back. The Colorado Rockies ground crew had to get to work super early to clear snow from Coors Field, and that allowed the Braves and Rockies to play, but all that snow did force the team to close parts of the stadium. It has been a snowy spring for Denver and the Rockies. Winter weather has postponed 3 games over the last 9 days. And the owner of that building that collapsed in Bangladesh, killing at least 400 people, had to wear police riot gear just to appear in court. An angry crowd shouted and hit Mohammed Sohel Rana. That's him under the helmet there. Authorities say the factory that he owned was illegally built, and Rana is therefore responsible for the deaths of hundreds of garment workers. There are still close to 1,000 people missing in the rubble. And during an exclusive interview with Newsmax TV, former White House advisor Elliot Abrams says the number of jihadists in Syria could double in the next year if the U.S. does not intervene.
One of the reasons that I've been, and a lot of other people have been critical of the administration letting this go on for 2 years, is the jihadis are getting stronger and stronger, and there are more and more of them. Estimates now are there are about 5,000 of them, real jihadis.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for April 30th. I'm John Bachman. Now to the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
But what I can say is that based on what I've seen so far, the FBI performed its duties. Department of Homeland Security did what it was supposed to be doing. But this is hard stuff.
It's hard stuff. No, he's not talking about liquor, ladies and gentlemen. He's talking about the quest to find out who the bombers were, why they did it, and the investigation that's ongoing. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Barack Obama during his press conference today. We're joined right now by Mike Baker, formerly with the CIA. Now he is president and founder of a private intelligence security firm called Diligence. And welcome. Pleasure.
Very much.
Pleasure to have you here. We watch you all the time on Fox News and all over the place.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
All right, well, let's talk, and we got so much to talk about, and you're here for the half hour. If you don't leave me in the middle, right? Unless you don't walk out on me and leave me. But this is great. So let's start with the investigation here before we get to foreign policy. It's hard stuff.
It's hard stuff.
Now,
yeah.
I'll agree that the FBI probably did its job, and he was referring to when they spoke with the first bomber who's dead after Russia said, you should talk to this guy. Mm-hmm. But to me, and you tell me if you agree or not, it's the problem that the FBI is not allowed to do their job the right way anymore because they're not allowed to mention jihad or this or that. So what could the FBI do?
Yeah, well, you've got now, and part of the problem is compounded by the fact that, we're now apparently a nation of counterterrorist experts, right? Everybody, anytime something like this happens, everybody's a freaking expert. So what we're looking at is the FBI did what they're allowed to do within the confines that have been set up because of all the concern over privacy and overreaching and civil liberties. And now, for the most part, much of the media in particular that hates the Patriot Act suddenly can't understand and is outraged why the Bureau didn't just ignore the Constitution and follow this guy around, listen to his communications, do all those things that, yes, the Bureau would love to do.
Right.
If that's what you want to have happen, then quit whining about privacy and civil liberties issues and just accept the fact, not to get lost in the weeds. President Obama made this comment quite a while back. It was one of the more inane things I've heard come out of a White House, where he said it's a false notion of we have to trade off our ideals for security.
Yeah,
and it's not a false notion. More security means fewer liberties, and that's just the trade-off. You have to find a happy point on there, and then quit whining when something always will happen.
Yeah, well, of course, we've traded in a bunch of civil liberties, quote unquote, for enhanced security. I mean, we take our shoes off at the airport. Mm-hmm. We go and, we subject ourselves to searches and bag searches and whatnot. That's all could be considered civil liberties that we've given up to assure our security. All right, so the FBI, did whatever it could do, but it still seems that there was this lack of communication. I mean, Homeland Security, you got Janet Napolitano, just like with the shoe bomber, she said the system worked. Well, now she's saying everything is good. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. They're their own best cheerleaders. Nobody criticizes anybody. And yet, Deborah Burlingame, who I'm sure you're familiar with, told me the other day that she fears that the communication between law enforcement is worse now. Of course, there was no Department of Homeland Security back then. Is worse now than it was before 9/11.
No, I disagree with that 100%. Look, here's the way this breaks out. The Russians come to us with bare bones information, which is not atypical, right? We got a name, we got a date of birth. Can you check this person out? And we never expect allies, much less the Russians, to open the kimono and tell us everything. But the Russians already had a file on Tamerlan. They'd been tapping him, and they'd been, because of the Chechen separatist issue.
Right,
they didn't care about his radical Islamic views.
Right.
So we come back around to this because this will play into foreign policy in terms of how well Putin's played the White House now over this issue. But they come to it, and that's all they say. And at that time, in 2011, when they look at Tamerlan, they don't see anything that allows them to continue with an open file to do anything about it. So they review it, and then they say, well, we don't see anything, Russia. Do you have anything else on
And
him?
Russia doesn't tell us
They
anything.
can't be bothered to
Right,
tell us
right,
anything.
right.
And so that's the end of it at that time. In 2012, when Tamerlan travels overseas, goes to Dagestan, undoubtedly receives training and some resources over there. Do you think the Russians weren't all over him? Of course they were. I mean, that's what the FSB does, and they do it very well.
Why didn't they grab him then?
Well, I mean, because they're doing what any intel service would do. They're watching him. They're gathering information about who he's meeting.
Right.
Now the file's gotten this big.
Right.
Now Tamerlan comes back to the U.S. Do you think the Russians can be bothered to tell us? It's not in their. They could care less. It's not in their interest.
Right.
They're only going to do whatever's in their interest.
Right.
Now he's back over here. They've made a determination that it's not a separatist issue. It's a radical Islamic issue, and the Russians could care less, and they don't bother to say anything to us.
Because he's over here, and it doesn't affect them over there.
And at that point in time, that's when he starts really ramping up the radicalization.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh my God, look at his Facebook page. Look at just Google him."
Yeah.
Well, again, I go back to the same thing. If you want the FBI to go out there and just constantly data mine, constantly go through your Facebook and your tweet,
then you're losing some civil liberties, right?
Yeah, don't whine about it, and accept that that's what's going to happen.
But why didn't we heard from Janet Napolitano say that he pinged when he left the country, but didn't ping when he came back, and then Lindsey Graham said, well, that's not what I was told yesterday in a closed hearing or whatever, that we were told that there was no trace of him leaving or coming back. So what I'm saying is there some lack of communication going on between law enforcement here in this country? Should he have more than pinged? Shouldn't something have gone off? And if the FBI talked to him, why right after the bombing? I mean, they might have closed the file, but then don't they have a record of files that or people they talked to, and shouldn't he have been at the top of the list?
Well, look, I mean, how much quicker do the people want this? It's not an episode of CSI or 24.
I know. I am spoiled with that. I do watch that all the time.
This thing moved very quickly in real world terms.
Right.
People want it like this. Well, okay, fine. They had to go through what essentially was 10 terabytes of video. They had all that information to go through.
But didn't they know? Like, in other words, something happens in Boston.
What are they going to do? They're going to do a massive roundup of everybody.
No, not a roundup, but but not a file. But I mean, somebody that they talked to because on the advice of Russia.
I understand what you're saying, but you know how many people they talk to? They do a great deal of this. And if again, I keep going back to this. You know where they don't have terrorism? North Korea. They don't have terrorism in North Korea. That's what we would have to have to live in a risk-free world, if that's what we want to call it.
We're talking to Mike Baker, formerly with the CIA and now president of Diligence and founder, a private intelligence and security organization headquartered here in New York City, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, so we find that there's DNA on the bomb, or part of the bomb. Now they say it could have been. I forget what they said, but the pressure cooker could have been handled by a woman in a store.
Could have been a sales clerk.
Whatever. Right. So that's basically not telling us anything at this point. And the mother. And
how unlikable is she?
Oh my God! Before we get to the mother, the FBI takes out bags of evidence, quote unquote, from the widow of the dead terrorist, and somebody saw marked DNA. So do they have reason to believe that she? I mean, they needed a warrant for that, right? So they have reason to believe that she could have been at least involved, not that was her DNA, but at least her DNA might come in handy somewhere down the line, right?
Right. Well, they have to rule it out too. That's the other thing. So they're going through the investigative process. They're going through the step by step. And despite what again, they've been taking a kicking. Almost since they finished. Everybody was they've solved it, and then everybody wants to get into armchair quarterback mode. They're going through what they're very capable of doing, which is this investigative process. So they've taken DNA samples. But again, I don't know that that's really going to be a critical element of it here. What we do know is the Russians are sitting on a great deal of information.
Right.
This is what they do. They've got a great deal of information on Tamerlan and who he met with. Inside that file would tell us, and we got our guys over there trying to recreate his trip, right? Working with our Russian compadres now, and President Obama just recently, the past day,
he thanked Putin, didn't he?
He thanked Putin, and he touted. He's beating the drum, saying, "Look, we're going to have this new aggressive cooperation with Putin." Well, Putin for years now has been trying to get us to basically say, yeah, the Chechen thing, that's terrorism, because that means that anything Putin does in Chechnya from now on,
it's legitimate.
It's a war on terror.
Right.
Putin's played this one. He's a very smart politician.
Yeah. Well, and people, I don't know how many people out there know, because I mean, I haven't really heard it brought up, and I watch all the news shows, and you do too, and you're on them. I mean, I haven't heard too many people bring up that the Chechnyan terrorists were the ones who killed those school kids, shooting most of them in the back as they ran in Beslan.
It was the Beslan school siege. It was the Moscow State Opera.
Yeah.
Brutal, absolutely brutal conflict between the Chechens and the Russians. But I know. Okay, bring it back closer to home. In terms of the investigation, I've got a lot of confidence in the Bureau. I know for a fact that the level of cooperation, the communication process, the ability to move pieces of information around is vastly improved over where it was pre and post 9/11. Is it perfect? Of course it's not perfect. It's a human endeavor. It's never going to be absolutely perfect. And what happens is we just keep adding more and more and more information.
Right.
In it. There's massive amounts of data that these people are going through on a constant basis. So, but I understand everybody's,
frustration.
Everybody's frustration. Yeah. It's just, I'm also surprised at the speed with which, parts of the media and others kind of turned on the Bureau for what essentially from the local, state, and federal level was a really, really good job.
Yeah. All right, we're going to come back with Mike Baker right here, and we'll turn our attention to Benghazi, the investigation there, Syria, the double talk on Syria today.
They had an investigation in Benghazi? I had no idea.
It's ongoing.
Oh,
it's ongoing. All right, we're coming back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful it's being banned by professional sports organizations. But for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also joined our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, Previous analyses and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
It is not a surprise to me that we've got problems in Guantanamo, which is why when I was campaigning in 2007 and 2008, and when I was elected in 2008, I said we need to close Guantanamo. I continue to believe that we've got to close Guantanamo. I think, well, I think it is critical for us to understand that Guantanamo is not necessary to keep America safe. It is expensive. It is inefficient. It hurts us in terms of our international standing. It lessens cooperation with our allies on counterterrorism efforts. It is a recruitment tool for extremists. It needs to be closed.
All right, Mike Baker's back with us here on the Steve Malzberg Show, former CIA and president of Diligence. Okay, everything you just said about Guantanamo. False, 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 false?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's hey, then close it. You know, if you're the president, he's just so, it's so unimpressive, you know, what's coming out of the White House nowadays. But he wants us all now to think, because there's a hunger strike, that
at Gitmo,
yeah, that you know, all along in his heart of hearts, oh my God, if Congress would just have let me close this place, I would have done it. And now you know what, you want to close Gitmo, let that hunger strike go on, and then eventually we can close Gitmo.
Right, they'll all die.
Yeah,
but he specifically said, I don't want them to die.
Yeah.
If they want to starve themselves, who cares? Do I care? Do you care?
No.
All right, let's talk about Syria quickly, because we only have a few minutes left. Today, after you know, the progression of events, game changer, red line. If there's chemical weapons used or moved, red line, game changer. Then Hagel tells us a week ago, we have evidence, chemical weapons used. We think it was the Syrian government. Blah blah blah. Today, Obama says, well, we can't do anything because we don't know if it was used.
Yeah.
If it was used, we don't know who used it. Well, what is going on here?
Yeah, I know. Let me tell you, I think anybody with kids out there will understand that if, as a parent, as an example, I've got 3 little boys, and the middle one's Sluggo. He's 3.5. If I if I tell Sluggo there's a red line here and don't cross it because this is going to happen, and then he's going to cross it, and then if I don't back up my threat, I'm done. Right? I'm completely. Every parent knows that, but apparently President Obama doesn't quite understand. He's backed himself into a corner that is actually really, really very dangerous now.
With Iran too, right?
Oh,
because it shows the world he won't act.
The Iranian regime, certainly Assad, the Russians, the Chinese, they've all got the measure of this president, unfortunately, and you know, the inconsistent, sort of feckless foreign policy that's been driving this White House for the first term and certainly going into the second term. But Syria is a major goat rope. Remember how quick we were to run into Libya?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, we had no national security interest in Libya.
None.
And yet we went in there because of the fear that perhaps Gaddafi's going to, hurt some of his civilians, his population. But anyway, so I don't know where this is going to go. There's not a really good answer here anymore. It's interesting that Assad, who's very smart, is now quietly in the margins, kind of positioning himself and putting the word out that, look, I think I'm your best choice here. You want that?
Right.
This is what you want. You want a rebel opposition overrun with extremists to take over this country?
Obama might want it.
Maybe, yeah, he does, but those chemical weapon stores.
I know.
That's
the
a problem. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
All right. And in Benghazi, I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of it, as you alluded to jokingly before. There's an investigation. We've got 1 minute left.
Right.
But now we have CIA and State Department people getting lawyers saying, we want to come forward, we want to tell what happened before, during, and after, but we're being threatened.
Right. You know what? Ever since this thing started, we've been banging the drum on Benghazi, trying to keep up interest on this, because at the end of the day, it's shameful, it's disgusting, the fact that we didn't try. Not that we could have saved those lives, but we didn't even try. And the only person who could have done that would have been the president. And my feeling is, the one thing I would like to have seen from an investigative journalist is to get the logbook of who signed into the war room that night of the attack. And I guarantee you will see probably as many political operatives in there as strategic operators.
I'm sure. Mike, I hope you'll come back. Great talking to you.
I
Mike
appreciate
Baker,
it very much.
former CIA and president of Diligence. When we come back, Lila Rose joins us. She went undercover into an abortion clinic in the Bronx in Washington, D.C. Wait till you see what she found on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call a Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Has it ever survived?
Usually at this point in your pregnancy is too early to survive usually.
Okay.
It will expire shortly after birth. It's all in how vigorously you do things to help a fetus survive at this point. We would not help it.
We would not help it. The words of D.C. abortionist Cesar Santangelo in a video made by the wonderful group Live Action. And they went into a D.C. clinic. They went into the Bronx, and they got, I believe, 6 more videos that they are going to release. Joining us now is the founder and the head of Live Action, Lila Rose. Lila, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's a long time since you and I last spoke, and I got to tell you, the videos that I've seen here from the latest endeavors of your organization are just mind-boggling. They're disgusting. They're revealing. They're anger. They cause anger, frustration in me. And you know, again, we have a media that I saw CNN play a little bit of it today. I saw CNN talk about it a little bit today. But of course, you know, your organization, they say, you know, has been accused of doctoring videos and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, they can never just let this story be what it is when it involves abortion, and even a doctor or abortion person who says we won't save that baby. When it's there in black and white for them, they still have to put a slant on it.
I know. It's pretty ridiculous considering, you know, Live Action releases the full footage of these visits. And no matter how you slice it, no matter how you frame it, no matter how you try to, you know, justify it, we're talking about the killing, the ripping apart of children old enough to survive outside the womb. I mean, these late-term abortion procedures, any abortion procedure is really ghastly when you really know what it is. I think a lot of Americans like to think, oh, I don't want to think about it. It's fine, whatever, women's choice. They don't understand what it does to a child. And in these visits, our investigators are asking these basic questions, and the clinic workers, the abortionists, are saying, you know, we slice the umbilical cord and wait for it to stop pulsing. The baby basically asphyxiates, and, you know, it suffocates to death. Then we deliver the dead baby. If it comes out alive, we leave it to die. We will not intubate it. We'll just allow it to die you know, as a preemie baby. In the Bronx clinic, they're saying, you know, we pull it out sometimes piece by piece. It comes out, you know, sometimes it's not all whole, so we have to send it to the lab to make sure all the body parts are there. I mean, this is ripping a child that's alive apart in order to take it out of a mother's uterus. Or she's saying, you know, if it comes out alive, we'll put it in a jar of toxic solution, so it will drown to death and be, you know, poisoned by the.
I know that is perhaps the most mind-boggling thing of all. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Talk about for those who don't know what you did. You sent in, I know in the case of D.C., a woman who was 23, 22 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, so in D.C., our investigator was 24 weeks pregnant, 6 months, and in the Bronx, she was about 23 weeks pregnant. So we're using women who are, you know, actually, you know, in their early third trimester, you know, asking questions about the abortion procedure from clinics. And in D.C., the clinic can abort through all 9 months.
Wow. Okay. And they have the cameras with them, of course. And you know, there's just no getting around what was said. This doctor, this abortion doctor specifically, Cesar Santangelo, according to what I heard on CNN today, that clinic has said that he is still there and still performing abortions. Are you surprised by that?
Yes. Consider D.C. has abortion legal through all 9 months. D.C. is owned by politicians largely who are fighting, you know, many, like the Senate is locked down as a pro-abortion Senate. The House is many of them are pro-life, but pro-life legislation regularly gets blocked by the president, who's the most pro-abortion president in history. He's the only sitting president to address Planned Parenthood. This was just last Friday.
Yeah, we played the sound bites, the highlights or the lowlights. Yes, we did.
I mean, so when you look at these inhuman and abusive procedures, killing these little children either in the womb or outside of the womb, right? Because it's the same baby, it's the same size, it's the same development in or out of the womb. You look at these procedures, nobody can justify this. Nobody can try to justify this, but at the same time, we have groups like Planned Parenthood lobbying, even in Florida, against the legislation that would protect infants that survive failed abortions and provide them basic medical care.
Right.
And Planned Parenthood lobbyists are saying that, no, actually, the doctor basically and the woman should be allowed to do what they want with the child.
Right. We played a Planned Parenthood lobbyist testifying before the Senate in Florida, and Democrats and Republicans alike were saying, things like, well, don't you think that you keep saying the patient, referring to the mother, but once the baby's born and is laying there on a table, don't you consider that baby to be the patient? And wouldn't you keep that alive? And don't the doctors do it? And she had no answer. She had no opinion. She couldn't say yes to common sense questions like that. We're talking to Lila Rose, founder of Live Action here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So where else besides the Bronx and D.C., I understand, I think I got this from the CNN report, there may be, 6 more videos to be released soon?
Yes. So there's several more to come. We're just getting started with this campaign, the Inhuman campaign, we're calling it, because these are inhuman activities lacking basic mercy and compassion and human qualities. And, it's basically an educational effort to show that Gosnell, the abortionist from the House of Horrors in Philadelphia who's on trial for snipping babies' necks who were born alive. I mean, people were horrified by these reports coming out of Philadelphia. But this abortionist is not alone. This is an industry where it's legal to do this. It's propped up by tax dollars through groups like Planned Parenthood, and it's killing children. As Kermit Gosnell says, one of the babies he aborted was old enough to walk himself to the bus stop. I mean, heart-wrenching material here. But this is what's happening in America, and people don't like to think about it because it's so inhuman. It's so disturbing. But people need to know this material.
Well, you do great work, and your story is an amazing story. And at such a young age, you decided to dedicate your time and your life to this cause. And are you frustrated by the fact, as I am, that the Republicans seem to fit into that group that doesn't want to talk about it because it is so hard to watch and look at and discuss, that has conceded, in fact, the issue? For instance, in 2008 and in 2012, both McCain and Romney, respectively, conceded the abortion issue, the life issue, to Obama. Of course, the Democrats take the offensive. They accuse the Republicans in some kind of war on women, and rather than say, hey, who's radical? Who's out of the mainstream? Listen to what Obama said. He's called babies, I forget what he said now, drawing a blank about his daughter, a punishment. He doesn't want his daughters punished if they're not married with a baby. And his stance on the Born Alive Act, not voting for it, in fact, voting against it in Illinois, etc. If America knew, then they would see how radical not only Obama but the whole Democratic Party and the left is on this issue, out of the mainstream. America would be appalled, but the Republicans shut their mouths, let it be portrayed that they're out of touch, that they're against women, that they're right-wing, and they lose the issue.
You're exactly right. America is with us on this. Americans, just like they care for the kitten or the dog, I mean, at the very least, we care for our own babies that are being ripped apart. We care about this, and that's why most Americans consider themselves pro-life. They don't want to buy this bill of goods that we've been sold about pro-choice somehow being empowering to women. It's not. This is not empowering to women. Abortion is the last thing that women want.
Well, why, Lila, you've been around and you've talked. Tell me about your sense of frustration or what you found. Have you talked to Republican strategists, campaign people who run campaigns, politicians themselves? Have you asked the question I'm asking? Why don't you present this to the public?
I mean, absolutely. And what I've heard from too many, have been excuses, or saying actually this issue doesn't help us, it hurts us. But that's because there is a lack of courage and leadership in calling a spade and speaking out the truth. That's what needs to be fixed in politics today. You get inside this, beltway mentality where you forget, you get out of touch with mainstream America. Now, there are some some leaders still, in politics that have been speaking out, that have been fighting for, defunding of Planned Parenthood. We're working with some different folks, getting them this material. So, we do have some leaders, but we need more leaders, and we need to make sure we are sending our legislators, we're sending, whoever is in our district, we're sending them this material and saying, you have to act on this. You have to act on this to protect children in our state and in our country.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. All right, so we could expect what, this week, next week, and you want to name the cities that you went to, or you don't want to tip them off?
Yeah, I can't tip them off
Okay.
so far. It's the Bronx, New York, and D.C., but
Right.
please stay tuned at liveaction.org for new updates.
All right, Lila, and we're gonna in the next segment we're gonna play some more of the video for the folks from the D.C. office. Thank you so much, and thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you. Thanks so much. God bless.
Bye-bye. Lila Rose, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Live Action. Okay, we do have time, and I do want to get to more of this. Just outrageous. This is a conversation between a woman who was 22 weeks pregnant, I think she said, with the hidden camera, who's working for Live Action, and the abortionist is Cesar Santangelo, and he admitted that in the unlikely event an abortion resulted in a live birth, we wouldn't help it. That's what you heard in the first cut. Let's go to cut 16, and I hope you can make it out. Here it is.
Hopefully we'll get the pregnancy out intact, but it doesn't always happen that way. I cut the umbilical cord first, wait for the baby to expire, and then we do it that way.
He cuts the umbilical cord first, waits for the baby to expire, and then they do it that way. Here's cut 17.
Does it ever move or anything when it comes out? Or?
That's why I try and sever the umbilical cord first, and we wait for that to stop pulsing, and that's why the fetus is expired first, so it does.
Okay, so has it ever survived?
After
when it comes out?
Not here, no.
Okay.
No, it could. I mean, if some people go into labor, prior to us, when you do this, what we do is we try and help the cervix dilate, and some people will go into labor before we do the procedure.
Okay.
And that can happen.
Okay.
It's unusual.
And then what do you...
Usually at this point in your pregnancy, it's too early to survive usually.
Okay.
It will expire shortly after birth.
But if it did, what would happen? Would I have to take it home or be responsible for?
I mean, technically, legally we would be obligated to help it, to survive, but it probably wouldn't. It's all in how vigorously you do things to help a fetus survive at this point.
So even if it's born alive, he's still calling it a fetus. And probably, technically, it could survive, but it all depends on how hard you try to keep that fetus alive. So she keeps pressing him. He says, that probably wouldn't be born alive, but he says it happens. Well, she's saying, what if it happens? Am I going to have to take it home? Am I going to be responsible for it? Don't forget, she's going in there for an abortion. And what if it's born alive? What if it comes out? What if it lives? What if it survives? Am I going to have to deal with this? Well, even if it does... technically we're supposed to keep it alive, but, if you leave it alone, well, he didn't say that. It all depends on how hard you try to keep it alive. So, look, this is outrageous. So to the people out there who think this doesn't happen, this is an exception, this is a red herring, this is a straw man, this doesn't exist, this happens. It happens. And it's outrageous. And America, if they saw this, if they knew this, would be outraged. And the Republicans should be taking Lila Rose by the hand and holding a press conference on the steps of Capitol Hill to show the public what she's found. But no. Strategists will tell Republicans, don't you dare do that. It's a losing issue. You can't win this issue. Everybody knows you guys hate women. You don't want to help women. You hate women. Now, Barack Obama, he loves women. He wants to give them contraceptives. Kill born-alive babies, or I take that back. Not guarantee that born-alive babies get the help they need, but as long as he gives a woman a pill or whatever, an IUD or whatever the heck it is, he loves women. Hey, he's on the right side of the issue. Baloney. America would be outraged about this, but they're never going to see it. And if Republicans don't fight the fight, they will concede the issue, the gender issue, when they can win the gender issue. Because it's the left that's out of control, off the cliff on their point of view. Not the right, the left, to such an extent that 80% of Americans would be disgusted at the Democratic platform, at Obama's history, at the support for this kind of stuff from most of the Democrats in the House and Senate. Not all, but most. See, do we have one more here for you? Well, we have several here more for you, but it's all the same. You get the drift. You get the drift. So, all right. When we come back, we have some more sound bites and issues that we haven't yet tackled in the final segment of the Tuesday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't you go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Last year, over 1 million consumers searched lawyer.com looking for a top lawyer, and our traffic continues to grow dramatically. We now need more top lawyers to cover many market and practice areas. Join now and lock in membership pricing for only $59 per month. We have no contracts and an unconditional money-back guarantee. Call now to receive a special radio-only discount where you can save up to $480. If you're a lawyer and you're looking for quality leads, customers to build your practice, you must call right now. 877-314-2657, 877-314-2657, 877-314-2657. If you're a lawyer looking for leads, you must call this number right now. 877-314-2657, 877-314-2657.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? we'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Final segment of the show. This is breaking on Drudge, and it's kind of disturbing. It's a CNBC story, and it's by their senior editor at CNBC, Mark Koba. An antibiotic-resistant strain of gonorrhea, now considered a superbug, has some analysts saying that the bacteria's effects could match those of AIDS. Alan Christian, doctor of naturopathic medicine, says this might be a lot worse than AIDS in the short run because all the bacteria is more aggressive and will affect more people quickly. Getting gonorrhea from this strain might put someone into septic shock and death in a matter of days. This is very dangerous. And, of course, they recommend practicing safe sex. And if you have a new partner, get tested because you may not be able to tell that you have it or that the person you're with has it, and it's not a good thing. So that's a very serious and a very strong statement to make. I want you to hear a couple of sound bites before we run out of time from the ultimate in political correctness file. Eleanor Clift on the McLaughlin Group over the last weekend, weighing in on immigration. And, of course, you could almost guess what I'm going to play for you. Here's cut 12.
You call it amnesty. I don't call it amnesty. If you have to pay back taxes, you have to pay some pretty hefty fees, and it's 13 years before you can become a citizen. But this does legalize people, gets them out of the shadows, and strengthens our defenses, frankly, if you know who is in the country as opposed to just having people in this shadowy position. And I would also ask you, John, let's call them undocumented immigrants. Illegal aliens, I think, is a rather offensive term.
Yes, it's rather offensive. Don't you know? Rather offensive. Rather offensive. I mean, come on. Enough already. They are illegals. They're here illegally. They broke the law. They came here knowing they broke the law. That's illegal to break the law. Therefore, ergo, whatever you want to call it, they are they're illegal. It's about, I think it's highly offensive myself. Okay. Howard Kurtz, CNN, reliable sources. You know, here's a guy who critiques the media for having an agenda. Here's a guy who critiques the media for presenting one side of the story. And yet, here's Howard Kurtz, basically with an agenda and basically talking about how the media needs to promote one side of the story. This would be cut number 24.
I picked up on something I wrote for the Daily Beast, which was soon after the Newtown massacre, in which I said gun control was an important issue. The press has to be leading the conversation on this. I would say that it's important for journalists, whether you like the phrase leading the conversation or not, to push controversial issues that the politicians otherwise might prefer not to talk about.
It's more a question of, well, what do you choose as the issue where you choose to crusade on, right? The press is less likely to look at the Gosnell trial and say, let's have a national conversation on abortion, because it's an issue that's more likely to make the press a little bit uncomfortable, because I don't think it's any secret that most people who work in our profession lean pro-choice and lean liberal on social issues.
Really? I'm shocked. All right, so Howard Kurtz says that the media should lead the conversation regarding guns. Really? It's up to the media to lead the conversation? You mean, especially on the issue of guns, you mean there hasn't been enough talk amongst the politicians within Washington, from the president, nonstop, that the media, you mean, he means, I think, since the legislation failed, I believe Howard Kurtz means push to get it back out there, push to get it passed. Lead the conversation on guns? That's all we've been talking about. That's all Obama's been talking about since Newtown, his guns. Now, you want to say lead the conversation on these abortion clinics or these tapes, something that no one's talking about, that's a different story. We need the media to lead on guns? It's talked about all the time. Folks, been a pleasure. See you tomorrow, God willing. Former Attorney General Mike McCasey will be here, among others, on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.